So if all you know is, trauma and ridicule and abuse and bullying and all that stuff, you may grow up and then have offspring that you end up, protecting, which, is the opposite of what you've experienced, which is being out there and being exposed. Or you push them the opposite direction, say, go do this, be bold, be strong, be courageous. Don't be like I was, where you were, beaten down and bullied. So your personal self-awareness, I think, to realize that you're a product of this family system and this family dynamic, can not only, influence the way that you work, but also can be overcome and changed in the direction that you want. I think that's super, super illustrative. And I hope that if people are listening and they're like, oh man, that sounds like me. Like my parents were raised in blah, blah, blah circumstance, and now I'm blah, blah, blah because of it. Just know that you can alter that course. It's not fate. It's definitely not in our blood. Like there's no genetic component there. It's just environment, and we can structure ourselves to respond to our environments differently. So I appreciate that. And as for the stage fright thing, man, that's absolutely real. And if anybody's out there struggling with speaking or public speaking, listen to Yehuda. It can be done. You can go do that. That's really cool. Thanks for sharing that, man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm like I said, it's just something that it took me a long time to overcome. And like I said, for all your listeners out there, it's 100% doable. The hardest thing to imagine when you're trying to overcome any kind of obstacle is failure, right? At least this is the way I see it. Every time I had to get up to publicly speak, the worst case scenario is failure, right? If I decide, you know what, I'm going to let it get the best of me, and I fail to get up there and overcome my fear at that moment, that's fine. I've been doing this for 21 years, and it is still a struggle for me. But every time, every battle, so to speak, right? Every time you have to get up and confront your fear, it's a battle. It's not the war. Mm-hmm. The war might last your whole life, right? And I only got over it in the last 2 years, right? So let's talk about chalking up points, man. Fear of publicly speaking, man. It's got I'm 4 for 75, and I'm way behind on catching up to all the times I fail. but there is a starting point that you need to overcome. That once you're able to overcome that starting point, then you're going to catch up and you're going to beat your fears very, very easily, because it gets easier and easier and easier.
It does. You're talking about two different things here, the way I'm seeing it. One is distress tolerance, being able to push through some sort of distress or some emotional experience. And I envision emotion as a wave. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And in the middle is where you really neurologically you lose control, and you have to feel something. And so once you push through that, you get to the other side and you realize that you had an experience. It was scary. It was hard. It was sad. It was whatever it was. But the world didn't spin off its axis. And once you go through that, you realize, oh, I did that once. I could probably do it again. And so then you do it again. And that's the second point, which is practice. So we only get good at what we practice. And what you did is you practiced overcoming those fears and practiced pushing through it. And then you're right, it does get easier and easier. Nothing's as hard as it is the first time you do it. And so, and that's because once you do it the first time, your brain realizes that you can do it. And then you can do it again and again, and you can do it with different amplitudes. So that's super instructive as well, because I think a lot of us end up getting this false understanding, or I guess a false obstacle in our head that says, you can't do that thing because you've never done it. Well, then that goes back to, what is human nature? Human nature is anything any human has done. So if we look at somebody like you and we go, well, he's done it, that means I could probably do it too. And all you got to do it is that first time. Interestingly, though, and in quite a paradoxical irony, a lot of people freeze because they realize that going through the difficulty once means that they can do it again. So people who are stuck, for example, in patterns of chaos, to get out of that chaos invites peace and tranquility. And sometimes the fear of going there is more powerful than the misery of the present. So they don't even want to try it once, because in their heads they're like, well, if I do it once, I'm going to have to keep doing it. And I just don't know if I can sustain that. And that's what we know is sometimes a fear of success.
Right. So the fear of success, right? So I want to give a literally perfect example, and I'm not lying to you. I'm looking at my phone right now. I just got a text message from somebody 4 minutes ago. I bumped into this person. This guy has, when I tell you he's a huge social media presence, I can't publicly say who it is. Offline, I'll tell you, but I can't publicly say. I approached him last year at SHOT Show and introduced myself and gave him my books because I know the guy has a few kids. And he loved my books, and he turns to me and he says, hey, you know what? I've had an idea for a book. I would love to talk to you. I'm like, oh, my God, this is huge. He gives me his card. I email him 3 or 4 times throughout the year. No response, never heard back. I bump into him again. This past year, I had 2 new books. I gave him my new books, and he goes, hey, you never got in touch with me. And like I said, this guy is huge, like huge. And I said, hey, look, you gave me your card. I emailed you. It's not my fault that, you didn't respond. And he goes, oh, you know what? I might have given you my assistant's card. I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. He goes, give me your phone. And I gave him my phone, and he puts his cell phone number in my phone. Now, this alone is a massive coup because we're talking about a huge celebrity putting their number in my phone. Right?
Yeah.
He said to me last week, he goes, do me a favor. In 2 weeks, I'm super busy. Let's be in touch next week, which is this week. So I didn't bother him yesterday because it's Monday, getting back in the swing of things. I was absolutely terrified to text this person this morning. Terrified. Because he's a celebrity. He is very interested in writing a book with me. And that's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
And yet, he puts his pants on one leg at a time, doesn't he?
Well, exactly. Well, in my eyes, he doesn't. He's just perfect, right?
Right.
But I texted him this morning, literally 5 minutes ago as we're on the phone. He texts me back. He goes, hello, my favorite Jew. Let's chat Thursday.
That's so cool.
And again, the whole mentality that I always joke about is like, but did you die, right?
But did you die?
You accomplished something, but did you die? That's literally my mindset. Like, the worst, and I have people, because I do a lot of the advocacy in the Second Amendment world, I have people who have been in this business much longer than I have calling me all the time saying, hey, we need help. How do we approach this person? How do we approach that person? And my response to them is always the same.
Why are you asking me?
No, my response to them is literally this. Just go up to them. Just go up to them. They're
That's
like,
awesome.
But how do we just go up to them? I'm like, go up to them, say, hi, my name is so-and-so. Here's my card. This is what I do. I would love to interview you. They're like, but what happens if they say no? I'm like, then that's the worst case scenario is you get a no. So you pick up, you move on, and you try it again in a year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, but if you do not ask, if you are too afraid to ask, to approach anybody. I mean, again, it's not just approaching celebrities. I'm just using that as an example because, I'm just coming back from SHOT Show and this is what I do for a living. But I'm talking about anything in life. If you're not willing to try it, then you're never going to know if you can overcome it.
Amen. Yeah. What about sustaining it? How do you? I know we're getting a little off topic because I want to go back to the Holocaust at some point.
This is fun.
This is really good.
This is actually something that I love talking about that most people don't talk about with me. So this is actually fantastic.
Well, it's motivating too. I think I'm getting a lot out of it because it reaffirms a lot of what I do, in my work. So let's talk about sustaining that for a second. So let's say this celebrity who you just been texting. He moves forward and he's like, yeah, let's write a book together. And you write a book and then all of a sudden it becomes New York Times #1 bestseller. And then it's like, well, how do we follow that up? And then all of a sudden it's like, I don't know if you've ever been snowboarding or skiing, but you start at the top of the lift. And if you've ever done it for the first time, you go down the bunny run and you kind of get your balance, but then you go up to the top and it's like, okay, I'm up here. There's only one way down, and you
Yep.
gotta go. And once you go and you hit that stride, like you're in perfect rhythm, you're going, man. Like you're going, and then you can't wait to do it again when you get to the bottom. Supposing you didn't fall and like tear your knee apart, but like my wife did once. But it's a little bit like that. Like you reach for success first. You take that first grab, right? And it's very scary and it's very intimidating. And then you push through that wave, that vulnerability, and you go, holy cow, I went through this and it worked and I didn't die and the world didn't spin off its axis. Well, now what? Well, you got to do it again. And, families coming out of chaos, people recovering from trauma, people like me who had several false start careers and been fired several times from work, having to get back on and apply for yet another job or like form your own company, like we did here with Zephyr. It's like, well, but what if it fails? It's like, yeah, but what if it doesn't? That's really the fear, right? Is the sustainability of the success. So talk about that. What you've found some success now. You've written 6 books. You've got some merchandise out. You're becoming well known in the community. How do you keep it up? Or did I just give you anxiety?
No. I'm just trying to think how to phrase it. There's always someone out there who is better well off than you are, who's more successful than you are. Right? You learn from them. That's it. You just learn from them. Nice. Am I looking to be the most successful person in my industry? Yes. Would I love for that to happen? Yes. Will I strive for that to happen? Yes. But like I tell my kids all the time, you win some, you lose some. You're not going to win every battle you fight, or you're not going to accomplish everything you set out to do. But if there are people out there who you can learn from, if there are people out there who can help you, then you either learn from them, you ask them. Heck, I have a buddy of mine who works at Cabela's, and I introduced him to some people at SHOT Show. He's really one of my closest friends. I love this guy to pieces. He's got his own podcast called Tundra Tactical. It's fantastic. But he texted me this morning. He's like, hey, man, I just had a meeting with my GM, and I'm pushing your books to get into Cabela's and Bass Pro.
Whoa.
Now, am I holding my breath? Maybe just a little bit. Would I absolutely love for it to happen? Yes, 100%. I mean, that would make me quite a wealthy person very quickly, and I would greatly appreciate that. But at the same time, that's only the first step. If it doesn't end up happening, okay, it doesn't end up happening. I come from the mindset of to put it very easily. A lot of people ask me like, oh, you go to all these gun shows over the weekend, but you never go on Saturday, which is the busiest day, right? I'll go to like the NRA show out of state, and I'll go there Friday and I'll go there Sunday, but I'm never there Saturday. And my friends, they're like, what's the point of even going? All like the biggest day is Saturday. I said, maybe the biggest day for you is Saturday. As an Orthodox Jew, I cannot go on Saturday because it's my Sabbath, which means if it is meant to be a successful trip for me, it will happen on Friday or it will happen on Sunday. I don't need Saturday to make it a successful trip.
I love that. That's awesome.
So in other words, if you're meant to be successful, you'll be successful, right? So if I end up writing a book with this celebrity and it ends up doing well, where do I go from there? Well, who knows? Maybe there'll be other people in the industry that want to write books with me. And you know what? If there isn't, maybe I now inspired a whole new slew of authors to get out there and write about American patriotism, write about the Second Amendment. Maybe my calling is not necessarily being a successful author. Maybe it's helping and guiding and advising people, inspiring people to do the same thing. Maybe that's where my talent's going to end up lying. And if that's the case, then I'm going to accept that wholeheartedly. Just because you're successful once doesn't mean you're going to be successful at the same thing again. And if you can live with that, then that's fantastic.
You know, what I'm hearing here is a mixture of faith and non-attachment and good boundary setting. And then the faith that setting good boundaries will